Hello, CodefForge here. Today we will create Angular application like the one on the screen using Angular Material components. Those components are very easy to use and also can speed up your development. In this video we will check out how to use table components together with the Paginator and also toolbar. Okay, so I have created a basic application. Let's start with creating a new module. So in the console we type ng generate module, let's call it game library, and we want to generate routing, and also we want to use this module in our app module, and after a second we should get a new module. Okay, now let's create a basic structure in our module. So we will need to create some folders. First one will be components, and the second one will be enums, and the last one will be models. Our application will allow us to manage games, so to do it we will need the game object. In our models folder, let's create a new file which we will call game.ts, and over here we will create class that is called game with the following properties. First one ID with type number, second one title with type string, and third one will be genre with type genre, which we'll create in a second. Now in the enums folder we'll create new file and we'll call it genre.ts. Over here we will create a new enum, so we type export enum with the name genre with the following values. First one will be RPG, the second one will be FPS, next one will be RTS, and let's say the last one will be sport. Okay, it should be uppercase, I believe. Sport. Okay, so let's save it and let's go back to our game file, and over here by hitting Ctrl spacebar we can import our new enum, and now we can save it. To create objects it would be nice to have constructors, so let's create one. So our constructor will get ID, title, and also genre of type genre. So we want to assign to this ID, to title we want to assign title, and to genre we want to assign genre. Okay, let's also delete this one and these things over here. Okay, now let's install Angular Material and some other tools. So let's go to the console, and over here we'll use npm install with the flag saved, and now we want to install Angular Material and also Angular CDK and also Angular animations, and after a while it should be installed. Okay, it's done. So now let's create first component. So we want to navigate to the source app game library component, and over here we want to create our component. So we'll say ng generate component, we'll call it top navigation, and we'll set export flag to true because we want to use it outside in our app module. Okay, and after a moment created, Let's make sure it's exported. So in the game library module, it should be in the exports array, and it's over here. And since our game library module is already imported in the app module, we can use components from their exported one. So let's go to the app component HTML and let's delete this. Now let's use our component. So we use the prefix of the application, which is CF, and the name of the component is top navigation. Okay, and if we save it, our component should appear, and it's here. So if we are already here, let's create second component and let's call it shelf. And we also want to export it, and shelf component will be responsible for displaying table. Okay, and create it. Let's display it under the navigation. So we use prefix and the name of the component, which is shelf. And let's save it. Okay, it works. Now let's go back to game library module, and over here we will import all the modules that we need from Angular material. So I will paste them over here, and we also have to paste each of these modules to imports array like this. So it will be available in our application. Now we can save it. To use material icons, which we have imported over here and here, we have to do one more thing, and it is importing Google fonts. So we have to go to the index.html and paste link in the head. Let's save it and let's go to the first component we have created, and it is top navigation. Now we can get rid of this paragraph over here, and instead of this we can type Mat Toolbar like this, and we also can set color of this toolbar to primary. And now inside we want to create Mat Toolbar row, and over here we can type Games Manager. Okay, now let's save it, and as we can see it's not working. That is because we have to import one more thing. So we have to navigate to the styles SCSS, and over here we have to import Angular material theme. So now if we save it, it should work, and it's here. Great. But we still have ugly margin over here, so let's add a rule on the body element, and let's set margin to 0. I forgot the colon. Save it, and voila. Let's go back to our HTML file of our navigation, and let's add fancy icon. So we type mat-icon, and inside we will use video game underscore asset, and also let's put our game manager in the span element like this. Okay, let's see if it works. I hope it works. Okay, great. Let's add some padding to the icon so it will look much better. So we will add a rule for this component. It is mat icon, and over here we want to add padding right, and let's say it will be 4 pixels, and let's save it. Okay, now it's good. Okay, now let's create table of our games. So we have to go to shelf component, and in the class of this component, let's add several properties. first one will be array of games, and we'll call it games. So it will be games type game, and it will be array, and we want to initialize it with the empty array, and we want to import this type. Second property will be something that is called mat table data source. So let's call it games data source, and it will have type of mat table data source, and it's generic, so we have to pass type over here, and it will be game. Right now we will need one more property, and it will be displayed columns, and it will be strings array, and it will be also empty array for now. Okay, so now in the constructor we can assign to our array of games a new array with several objects I have prepared. And as you can see, those objects in the array are type of game, and each of these objects has ID, title, and also genre. In the genre, when we are creating new objects, we are using our enum. As we can see, we don't have genre imported, so let's do it. And we don't have such thing in the genre, and we have changes to the uppercase. Okay, we have our collection in the games array. Now we have to assign it to the games data source object. So we type this game data source, and we want to create new mat table data source with the type game, and we want to initialize it with our array of games. So we are simply passing all our games to this object over here. Also, we want to define which columns we want to display, so we type this displayed columns, and it must be array as we defined, and first column will be title, and the second column will be genre. Okay. I think our data is ready, so we can go to the shelf view, and over here let's get rid of this paragraph and let's create a table. Okay, and this table needs the directive which is called mat table. So we are marking this HTML tag as the mat table, and now we have to pass to the data source input of this table our games data source. Now we have to define columns in this table, and in the mat table we are doing it using ng container. So we type ng container, and we also have to mark it with the mat column definition. And our first column is called title. Okay, and the second one, let's copy it. Okay, and let's paste, and the second will be genre. But it's not all, we also have to define header and actual data. So to define a header for each of these columns, we will use th tag, and this th tag must be marked with the mat header cell, and also with mat header cell definition. And now the name of this column, and it will be title. And now we have to specify the data, so it will be ed tag, and it also has to be marked, but with mat cell, and also with mat cell definition. And we want to assign to it our game object, which comes from the games data source. And using interpolation, in this column we want to display game title. And also let's copy it for the genre, and let's change title to genre, and over here also to genre. Okay. Material table also requires to explicitly declare columns headers, and to do it we have to type tr, and inside we have to say mat-header-row, and also mat-header row definition. And over here we are assigning our displayed columns property from the class. We also need to create another tr tag with mat-row directive and also mat-row definition, and we are assigning to it rows or row object, and also columns we are setting to displayed columns. I forgot semicolon, and we should save it and it should work. And it is, but it looks bad. So how we can make it look better? First of all, let's create a div, and let's wrap the table with this div, and let's call it class table wrapper. And let's create another one, and also, oh no, move it down like this. Okay, and this one will have class which comes from the Angular material, and it is called mat elevation 8. And this class basically gives us the feeling of lifting the elements. So let's save it, and let's move to the CSS file, and over here we want to add the class to our, we want to add the rule to our class, and the class was table wrapper, and we want to add some extra padding, and also to the table element we want to add width equal to 100%. And now if we can save it, yeah, now it looks good. So as you can see, this mat elevation class gives us this shadow, so we have feeling that this element is lifted up. Okay, that looks good. And now I forgot the semicolon, and let's go back to our class component. So now we'll add the pagination to our table. First of all, we have to create a new property using viewChild decorator from the Angular, and we want to pass mat Paginator, and also we want to set it to static true, and this property will be called Paginator with the type of mat Paginator. Okay, so using this viewChild decorator we can access the child elements of our component, and we will add this mat Paginator element in a moment. But first we have to assign this object to our table. So we want to refer to our games data source, and this games data source, since its type of mat table data source, has property that is called Paginator. And we want to initialize this Paginator property with the object we have created, which is called Paginator. Okay, so we can save it, and we can go back to our view. Over here now we can simply add our Paginator, so we type mat Paginator, and it also has input property which is called page size options, and it takes array with options of the page size, and it will be in our case 5, 10, 15. So now we can save it and it should work. And as we can see, it works with some visual bug, but as we can see, we can navigate through our list, and also we can't change the size. That's interesting. When something is not working, that means we probably have errors in the console, so let's check it out. And yeah, as we can see, we don't have animations module imported to our module, so let's do it. So we go to the game library module, and over here let's type import, and it is browser animations module, and let's make spaces, and we want to import it from, it was Angular / platform browser, I believe. Sure. Yeah, and now also animation. Okay. And what is wrong with that? It's declared, but it's never used. Okay, that's fine. And now it should work. We need to delete this space over here. And as we can see, now the Paginator is displayed correctly. And also we can change the size. And we still can navigate. Oh, and we have full tooltips. Next page and previous page. Great. Okay guys, I think it's all for this video. In the next one we'll try to add some new features like sorting and filtering, and maybe something more, we will see. So subscribe or like the video if you enjoy it, and see you next time.